Everybody, welcome live to the Jim Master Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series coming at you live from the New York area here in the United States. Good to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. And if you want to participate in the chat, you can chat right now while the show is on live in the JMS Celebrity Hall chat room. You can also drop a comment underneath the episode and all the episodes you enjoy of JMS, like 1,036 episodes so far and counting, that you can peruse and enjoy. Got a great guest coming to us from Vancouver, Canada. Yes, the incomparable award-winning actress and voice artist extraordinaire, Nicole Oliver, is joining us. We're so excited to have her here. She's been in so many incredible shows, productions. Her voice has been used in some of your favorite animations, video games, and productions as well. We're going to talk about all of that. But she's also starring in a very, very exciting new Hallmark movie. We're excited about it. And this is the movie. It's going to be on December 10th on the Hallmark Channel. I know you guys love the Hallmark movies. You tell us this all the time. And yeah, we're very excited to let you know that she's in it. And it's called Round and Round. And we're going to tell you about it in just a second and how you can see it and all the rest. Of course, Hallmark always has such great movies, especially during the holiday time, and this is a brand new one that is debuting in just a few days on the Hallmark Channel. We love the Hallmark Channel, and again, so many of the folks who perform in the Hallmark movies have stopped by the Jim Master Show live series to talk about their epic careers and all the cool things that they're working on. And of course, during the holiday time, there's so many Hallmark movies that are really, really special. This is a unique one. I'm going to talk about it in just a second. First, let me tell you a little bit about our very special guest. She has an extraordinary background. She's a very versatile and dynamic actress. She's been able to work both sides of her native Canada with much success and recognition. Her credits are many in film and television, including numerous leads in various movies and shows and lots more, films in Canada and the United States as well. The list is extraordinary. She's multifaceted too. She's also in high demand in the animation, corporate communications, advertising, and video game worlds too. She's provided her voiceover expertise to hundreds of companies, including American Express, Wireless Wave, Clubhouse, McDonald's. She has voiced innumerable animation programs, including The Dragon, Prince, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Lego, Marvel Avengers, Tom and Jerry, and even the Barbie franchise. And favorite video game portrayals to date have included the world of Warcraft and THIMBLEWEED Park and HEARTSTONE. She's also incredibly busy as a voice director for numerous animation projects. Those credits include the Netflix series Zango Go and Molly of Denali for PBS and CBC. Winner of the highly coveted George Foster Peabody Award as a director, producer, and host. Nicole has worked on the hit Slice Network series Crash Test Dummy for 4 seasons, helping 52 well-deserved mothers get a break and heap of praise from their families for all the work moms do, keeping a household running smoothly. Other directing, producing credits include The Center. Yeah, and she has also conceived, produced, and directed corporate communications content for clients such as the City of Vancouver, City of Ottawa, Vancouver Fire and Rescue Services. She attended York University, graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree with honors, and she continued her studies in London and Oxford at the wonderful, prestigious British American Dramatic Academy, and an institution that is affiliated with Yale University. We were just talking about Yale moments ago. Nicole has had a dream team of instructors, too, that she's had an opportunity to work with, including Jeremy Irons. And she has a Master of Arts in Communication at Royal Roads University, recipient of both the Founders Award for Leadership and Sustainability and the Chancellor's Award for Highest Academic Achievement. This is just the short list, folks, of her extraordinary career and her amazing background. As I mentioned, you have probably seen and been involved in the appreciation of things like this, Lego, Dragons Rising. Yep, she's been in that. X-Men Evolution, as I mentioned. The world of Warcraft, which is exciting. This is Dragonflight. Her voice is in that as well, for those of you who love animation and more. Netflix, The Dragon Prince. Also, she was in the Linda McCartney story, which is something quite special. Also in Brittany Ever After. Did you know she was in that as well? Yeah, this is again just the short list of her iconic career, which continues. Kung Fu, the legend continues. Nancy Drew as well. Yep. Even Sausage Party as Alex. Narco Leap, which was another great one. She was in that as well. And as I mentioned, other Hallmark Christmas movies as well in that and those and many. And in this one, which is really exciting, as I mentioned, Round and Round, which is debuting in just a couple of days from now. And we're excited to have her on. We wanted to get her on the show just before it airs on the Hallmark Channel. So that way there, you'll watch it when it airs. As I mentioned, also, her voice, Princess Celestia, yes, in My Little Pony, which I know is near and dear to the hearts of so many of you. Her voice is in so many incredible things. Polly Pocket, Powerpuff Girls, Z, Littlest Pet Shop, Martha Speaks, of course, on PBS. You guys know my many, many, many year affiliation with PBS. This is, of course, PBS Kids, which is fantastic. Also, Key, Metal Idol, as I mentioned too. And that's just the short list. It goes on and on and on, folks. But coming up again on the Hallmark Channel is Round and Round. And we're going to talk about what it's all about. It's something very, very special. She's teaming up with Rick Hoffman on the Hallmark movie, Round and Round, starring Vic Michaelius as Rachel and also David Atara and many others. It's really exciting. Keeping busy on both sides of the camera. She's been really immersed in so much. And she's very busy this time of the year as well. This is a very special movie, and she's worked alongside a lot of A-list actors too, as far as in the role in Wonder, starring with Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson and Jacob Tremblay. She's also starred in a lot of other things like Ungodly Acts, The Christmas Ornament, The Woodcarver, and that is just the short list. So yeah, busy, busy, busy. That's what it takes in this career, to stay busy, and she is in demand, and we're so excited to have her for the time that we have allotted to welcome her to the show. And this will be archived as well for those watching live. If you came in late or want to see the whole thing again, it'll be archived on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. From Vancouver,
Hi.
here she is.
Wow, that was a lot. I've been busy.
The full list, that is the abbreviated version.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, I think I have like over 300 credits at this point now of my career of 30 years, which is amazing. I must have started when I was 2, but anyway.
Yeah. Like John Davis had said on the ABC series in the 1970s and 80s, that's incredible.
Yes, it is. I love that show.
How did you get started in it all? What was the initial spark of inspiration for you growing up? Were you always keen to the arts and entertainment, television, movies, animation?
Yeah, my mom and dad loved everything to do with. They took me to plays when I was little. I actually started dancing when I was 3. So I started in ballet school when I was 3 years old. And I really thought that was going to be my path forward, but I blew my knee out when I was 11. And so I kept dancing, and I still do take the odd class. Embarrass myself, but I have fun. But I thought, oh, okay, what else could I do? And at that point, I started getting involved in the theater program at my high school. And I did the high school play, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, in grade 12. And I remember walking on stage and then bowing at the end. And I just loved it. And I remember saying to my parents, yeah, remember I was going to go to law school? Yeah, I think I'm going to be an actor. So my dad said, okay, get an education first, please. And I said, sure. And so I graduated from York University, as you had mentioned in the intro, and with the BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater. And I got an agent right out of school, and I started working, and that's been my only career inside the arts as a self-employed artist for 34 years now.
Wow, so that's incredible, right? And that went by in a New York minute, didn't it?
Ooh. Exactly. Yeah, real hot, real fast.
When you look at this career of 34 years and counting, what was there a pivotal moment? Was there this door opening opportunity that because that happened, or those events, that scenario happened, it sort of led to more notoriety, people appreciating your incredible talent, and the phone ringing more?
Well, I guess there was two or three things. Probably just understanding that when I was in theater school, I went overseas to British American Drama Academy, actually, and that was when I had my first kind of aha moment, because my classmates were made up of students from all around the world, right? And when you're in a theater school setting, you're made to feel like all these little onion layers you're peeling back about yourself to learn about yourself, so you can recreate life over and over again for viewers. It's almost like you have a problem. You're not quite good enough. And you're in this little microcosm at school. And I remember going away to this other place with people from everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, you're just like me. You're just like me. And realizing that, wait a second, I don't have a problem. I'm actually paying people to help me learn and develop. And that's when I really kind of realized, step out of myself. It's kind of like a business as well, right? It is show business. So I went back for my last year at university and I said, FYI, I'm paying you. So what you going to do for me? So things kind of shifted there a little bit and kept going. And then I've been fortunate enough to meet some really strong women in the industry along the way who've become mentors, whether they knew it or not, for me, just kind of reinforcing that I can be many things and I don't have to choose. My personal life is my personal life, and I owe nothing to anyone in that area except for those who are in my personal life, you know, and that to be flexible is an amazing quality. And if you can keep kind of stoking those fires, you can really go anywhere. You're the only thing that can get in your way. So there are lots of little moments, but, you know, certainly haven't gotten here by myself. It's been a great team of people. Like my agents, I've been with almost my first agent I'm still with. That's really rare in this industry,
That
right?
very
You know?
much is. Yes, absolutely.
So, oh,
And obviously that agent's very good because you're very busy.
that's just my agent calling. It's well, they just called. That was them. So isn't that funny? I'm just
Oh
gonna,
my
I gotta
God.
put that on silent and I'll deal with them later. It's like they knew. But yeah, so, you know, I've been with everybody, and
That's incredible. That's how in demand you are. You're
it's
actually in
it's
demand
exciting.
during a
It's exciting.
conversation. That's amazing.
Sorry.
No, that's fantastic.
But
Hey,
anyway, yeah.
I think I could use that
Yeah.
agent. Keeps you busy while you're busy. I mean, how nothing tops
they're
that.
great.
Busy while busy.
It's great.
That's incredible.
Busy while
And
busy.
to have that
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really terrific.
Well, I always
That's
say, you know, Jim, like the worst thing I think that could happen, like every day I wake up and I call my career like making a pot of pasta or pasta, depending on what side of the continental divide you're on. And the worst thing that happens is like you throw that pot of pasta at the wall, and the worst thing that happens is it all sticks.
yeah.
So it's kind of, you know, it's not that nothing's going to stick. Maybe when I first started out, it was like, oh my God, nothing is happening. There's not. Now it's that everything is going to happen, in which case buckle up and then you can afford a vacation. That's kind of how I live.
Grab it while it's happening, while the wave is in that direction. Ride the wave. Exactly. That's what you need to do, because it's such a fickle industry on so many different levels,
fickle.
right?
So fickle. Yeah.
It really, really is. So what came first for you? Is it the acting or is it the voice work? Because you have been prolific in both areas at the same time.
Well, you know, voice is just the adjective, right, in front of the noun acting. So I started on camera, and whenever they want this, I will continue to work on camera. You know, the industry's, everything you kind of heard about the industry, especially for people who identify as female, is true. And so trying to fight against those kind of prejudices against aging, etc. This is certainly a real thing. Not to mention gender equity and pay, but that's another thing. See, and then menopause, my brain just went, your question one more time. I got stuck on gender equity.
It is funny. I know a lot of comedians have said why do they call it menopause? There is a whole thing with that.
Yeah.
That's funny. In terms of the acting or the voice work, what sort of came first for you? Because you've been so active in both areas. Acting first, huh?
Well, acting. Oh, yeah. I went to theater school. I was doing Shakespeare. I thought that's my route. And then I can sing. a little bit. I'm an actor who can sing. So I auditioned for some musicals. That's right around the time that Les Mis was quite big and was happening. And so I put my hat in the ring for that, and I got a little callback. But I also auditioned for a TV show called Kung Fu: The Legend Continues with David Carradine. And I got offered a recurring role on that. So it was like theater, television, theater, television. I went with TV because I do like to eat and pay my rent. So I went that route, and it was a fun program. And I kept working on camera, but my agent said, "Hey, you have a nice voice. Have you ever thought about voiceover?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, the voices that you hear for commercials or on television, or the voice like in cartoons." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, I'll try." And I booked my first 2 auditions for that. So I was the voice for Vaseline Intensive Care. And
Very
then
nice.
I also did, I think my first one was actually X-Men in Toronto, the X-Men Evolution. And then I just
I
loved
mean,
what
how
I love
cool is
about
that with that franchise,
super
to be
fun.
affiliated with
Yeah.
that franchise that is so universally
Yeah.
known and loved, right?
It's so
Wow.
cool. And then I did those, and so again, like I said, I don't have to choose, right? So if one area is a little quieter, maybe the other area picks up a little bit, but it's all creative. You have to be able to tell a story. You have to be able to
Yes.
let your audience feel something. And you can't really rely on your face to tell everything. You got to make sure it gets in your voice. So there's some different skill sets, right? But it's all at the end of
Yes.
the day, acting. I don't have to memorize my lines though for animation, and that is awesome. So there is that little plus, right? Yeah.
Speaking of animation, I mean, Princess Celestia and the whole
Yeah.
connection with My Little Pony and all, how did that all come about for you? I mean, to be affiliated with that too is extraordinary.
Well, I was 10 years. Like, what TV show goes 10 years these days? There's a
Right.
very small list. So certainly when I was just an audition, I knew about My Little Pony when I was growing up. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
And this new variation was developed by and created by Lauren Faust, who's amazing. And I don't think anyone really could have predicted what happened with the show. It kind of, became its own thing, jumped the shark. It
Mm-hmm.
fans from 2 to 102. It just, if you would have told me when I started my career, when I was in theater school, that a show about a bunch of ponies was going to allow me to travel the world and meet all sorts of amazing creative fans and people, I would have called you crazy. But yeah, that happened. So.
How did you create the voice? What did you do to be able to create the voice for the character?
Well, like when you get a breakdown. So like when you get, this is the character's description. These are some of the adjectives, or maybe we think this character might sound like or is kind of like somebody, right? So maybe this wasn't in the breakdown, but reminds us of Meryl Streep or reminds us of Kate Blanchett or something. So that's kind of a hint about, okay, kind of, or sounds like Bugs Bunny. Then you kind of know what they're looking for.
It's like playing charades. Sounds like
a little bit. Sounds like shape of. And so in the case with the show, we had no pictures, we had descriptions. So I actually auditioned for all the characters, a lot of us, because it was very rare. It still is very rare to have a program where over 80% of the characters are women. Usually on most shows, live action or animation, it's very still male dominated in terms of the character, with maybe a couple of females, one usually being the old sage type and the other being the younger virile one. You know what I mean? Right. There's really no in between. And if all the FBI agents have to be men, it's like, hello, there are women FBI agents as well. But so I auditioned for most of us did who were in the cast. We auditioned for all of it. And then at that point it's okay, who do we like and how do their voices sound together? And they brought us back for some callbacks and reading with some people, and it just kind of happened. And none of us had any idea at that time. It was a job, it's a gig, it's awesome, love it, chance to work with other actors, but none of us, I think, knew at that time that it would be employing us for a decade. It's crazy.
It's amazing. Some of the things that you've been a part of have lasted a long time and have been part of the vernacular, which I think is really amazing. You've also been involved with Polly Pocket, That's cool.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, Polly Pocket's come back a couple of times. So I've done voices in several iterations. There's a new one out right now. I want to say Netflix. I feel like almost everything's on Netflix these days.
Now it is,
But
right?
Emily Tennant voices Polly Pocket, and she's an incredible actress. She's also done a lot of Hallmark movies and other films as well. And so I play in this iteration of Polly Pocket, I play the teacher and a couple of the parents. But in some of the one from about 10 or 15 years ago, I was actually Tori, one of Polly's friends, right? So it's kind of fun to come back to a franchise in another evolution of it in a different way. So yeah, that's kind of rare as well, like to be able to come back to it. Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned, you know, PBS, and I've had this wonderful affiliation as a host on public television for a long time. And you had an opportunity to be a part of Martha Speaks, part of PBS Kids. That's a great honor as well. Tell us about that.
Well, again, you know, I played one of the characters' moms on that, and you know, PBS does great, as you know. I don't have to tell you, does great programming. But I mean, in about 10 years ago, I started trying to figure out what my next evolution might be. How can I keep myself relevant and current? And I had done some directing on camera, and I have always wanted to pursue that more, but I'm not really interested. My kids are now just both in college, but having little kids at home and being away for 17 hours and traveling a lot doesn't really make for a happy family. But for animation, it's kind of banker's hours, quite frankly. And so I started looking into directing, and I'm now directing the 5th season of Molly of Denali, which is on PBS as well.
That's right. And, exactly.
And that's incredible. Working with Indigenous writers, and our cast is from all over North America, from Alaska all the way down to like Arizona and all across Canada. It's crazy. So yeah, I just really love Dorothea Gilliam at PBS. Great ethic about bringing quality programming for kids that don't treat kids like kids, but treat them like people, which they are, you know, and allow for growth and everything.
So Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and it goes all the way back to the beginning foundations of it all, and has continued since. Something else too that people, of course, know you from is Narco Leaf.
Oh, Narco Leaf, yeah.
That was a long time too.
Yeah, that was a couple of seasons, and actually, you know, it's a great. One of the things, my dad, he passed away when I was 25, so a hot minute ago. But he died shortly after I'd kind of made the leap down to Los Angeles, which actors from all over do. And the one thing my dad's death taught me at an early age was you can't put your resume on a tombstone. And so it made me want to, you know, try and make better relationships and rethink things. And so also, as I kept going through my career, it's like, always be nice to everyone. That's another thing my dad said. Because you're always you never know when you're going to see each other again. So in the case of Narco Leaf, I did a reality TV show that I produced and directed and hosted called Crash Test Mommy. And the PA on it was a woman named Kate Green. Flash forward 15 years, and she's an incredible director and producer and creating her own content. And she called me and said, I have this idea for a web series. I'd love you to play this character, Helen. What do you think? And I was like, sure. And so that was an offer, and it was great. And the character was so much fun, because what turned out to be, not to spoil too much, but from an acting perspective, it's such a great evolution, because you think she's a mom, but is she your typical mom? And so it was a lot of fun, and I was honored to win an acting award for it too, just last year. So
you have lots of awards that have been accumulated for your work, which is extraordinary. Again, she's an actor, producer, director, voice artist as well. You also had an involvement with Brittany Ever After too, huh?
That was interesting, because that was for Lifetime, and they're usually right on the crack of whatever's happening in real life, coming out with something. And so I played Lynn Spears, and it was a great production. It was a lot of fun, but it was kind of difficult, because I'm totally team Brittany, and you know, trying to, as an actor, you look at these characters and you're always trying to find redeeming qualities. And so, but then with everything else that was going on with the conservatorship in the press and everything, it was a little tough. And I remember at one point I was posting, And I knew I'd kind of ruffled some feathers because Sarah Michelle Gellar, you know, Buffy,
Yeah.
posted a picture of me from the show next to a picture of Miss Piggy. And I don't think she was too appreciative of me playing Lynn, maybe as a little bit of a supportive mom. And I just went, okay, all right, well, no press is bad press. But that was interesting. That was interesting. And, you know, because everyone, but for the record, I think, you know, everyone has right to their own autonomy. And I love her music. She's my go-to at karaoke. Hit Me Baby One More Time. You know, but the project was a fun project to be a part of. And especially when you're a lead, you really get a chance. That's what I love, being part of a project from beginning to end, and all the people involved in bringing something, the crew, they're all incredible. And to be able to have a chance to actually make meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
Again, another gift from my dad passing early in my life is really important. Really important.
Speaking of those kinds of projects, the Linda McCartney story too. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, that was one of my first jobs out in Vancouver, where I stayed because I met my husband out here. But and he writes music for film and television. But I got a chance to be on this with Elizabeth Mitchell, who's just prolific. Like, she's incredible. She did BBC.
There he is.
There's my husband, Chris. Yeah, we've been married for 22 years and together for 25. And he wrote the music for an independent feature I did called The Falling, and we met at the Toronto International Film Festival back when the Earth was flat. And
that's fantastic.
My mother actually told me, he's a nice guy, you should date him, as opposed to those normal beeps you normally date. Okay, thanks, Mom. So I took my mother's advice. So listen to your mom.
Straight from the heart. Straight from the heart.
But back to this, Elizabeth Mitchell, incredible actress. Like, she's amazing. I mean, if you like Christmas movies, she's in, I think it was Santa Claus 2, right? She ends up being the new Mrs. Claus. But she's done so much. She's so great. But that was a really fun project. And it was a period piece too. So to be able to kind of be in the 60s and all that kind of clothing and stuff, that was fun. Fun to be part of.
You've had an opportunity to be in other Christmas movies on Hallmark, the Hallmark channel as well, right? And, you know, there's such a fan base for the Hallmark channel, but especially right now, this time of the year, with all of the different Christmas movies. We've had a lot of the folks who have been in many of them, Paul Green, who's a friend, and many others. What's it like being in them?
It's exactly what you think.
Yes.
It is. I mean, they follow a formula, but I think what I love about Hallmark movies is really happiness. You know, what's wrong with a little bit of sugar and spice, right? And in the case of the one Round and Round, which premieres December 10th at 8 o'clock Eastern Pacific time on Hallmark Channel and W in Canada, it's actually a Hanukkah movie.
That's right.
And it's also my first grandmother role. There you go,
boy.
Jim.
I tell you.
But working with Rick Hoffman, he's great. I mean, the whole cast was just wonderful. But it's fun. I mean, they're hectic. They're fast. There's, you know, you maybe do 8 or 9 pages a day, which is a lot. That's a lot. And but they're fun. You know, there's Christmas parties and Hanukkah parties and Santas and all sorts of fun stuff. And you meet great people. And I did one with Holly Robinson Peete a couple of years ago.
That's right.
That was a blast. And you know, I've worked with Alison Sweeney, who's like one of the queens of Hallmark.
From Days of Our Lives. Sure.
She's amazing. Really collaborative. You know, you can start to almost feel like there's a little company of people that all work together. And
you see several of the some familiar faces in a lot of the Hallmark Channel Christmas movies. You'll see them in a variety of different movies almost simultaneously. It's like they become the A-listers, the Hall of fame for the Hallmark Channel Christmas movies. It's amazing, huh?
Yeah, I think there was, at the very beginning, I remember when we started being able to audition for these movies, the fact that you had done another Hallmark film might not necessarily have worked in your favor. But I think now there's almost a feeling, like you just said, of that familiarity the audience really likes, right? You get to see Lacey Chabert or Alison Sweeney or a Paul Green. You know what's coming. You know it's going to be fun, and there's a great connection. And it almost feels like a theater troupe in a way. You know what I mean? Like doing like repertoire or something. And
Yeah, right.
Rep theater. Yeah.
Exactly, like the holiday. And of course, they're shot at least a minimum of 6 months in advance of the holidays.
Oh
And a lot
yeah.
of times it's summertime and it's July.
Well,
And
yeah. Wearing a turtleneck in July, you're like, oh my God,
yeah.
help me. Yeah.
But
You hope for air conditioning.
whatever it takes to entertain and inspire
Yeah.
and celebrate.
Yeah.
And talk about segues. Sausage Party, playing Alex, is another terrific one you're known for.
Well, yeah, Sausage Party. Actually, I played Sally Bunn. That was
That's
a different actor who did that one. But
That's
Sally
right.
Bunn, I was Kristen Wiig's bun friend. I was
Kristen
the squish
Wiig's
bun. At the back of I could have talked like this, and I ended up hooking up with Michael Cera's hot dog at the end. It's not a kid cartoon, by the way.
No, it is not
for children. Yeah,
it is not for children.
And then I did about 5 other voices on that as well. Little background.
Did you
voices,
really?
Yeah. And so that's fun when you get brought in to a program and you can be fun. And then they're like, hey, can you do this? What about that? And you get a chance to play, because that's one cool thing. Like I kind of alluded to earlier about voiceover, is it's not fixed on this so much, right? I mean, yes, certain stories need to be told by certain people, right? Black stories need to be told by Black actors. Indigenous stories need to be told by Indigenous actors, right? But certainly with my voice, I can be an older grandma, I can be an older lady, that's okay. Or I can be my own age, or I can even, maybe play a little younger or something, and that's okay too. It's not tied to this, or I can be.
That's very nice.
Yeah, or I could be like a crusty elf or something, or so it's
That's
not
so
necessarily
cool.
attached to that. So that's fun.
It's a lot of fun because it brings the kid in you, which we all are. I always say we're just big kids in adult clothing, actually.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it sort of
yeah.
brings that up and out, and you get to express different sides of you through the characters, which is a fantastic way to express and to stay connected with folks. Another too, Nancy Drew.
Oh, this was so great. Nancy Drew, which just finished after 4 seasons on CW. I was brought in, I think, in the 2nd season to play. That's Ace. And there was a big ship between Nancy and Ace for many years.
Yes.
His mom, and then Anthony, who's wonderful, played the dad. And but Anthony's a deaf performer. And so our family, he was on the show. He was deaf. He was a police captain, I think, a police detective. And so Ace was incredible. The actor, he would sometimes we all had to sign. And so having to learn ASL, and I'm nowhere near as proficient in my outside life. It's like on my to-do list. Like I challenge myself every year to learn something new. And it's always like to be able to sign, to communicate that way without having a coach. But my coach, Susie, she was amazing. Oh, I had to sign all my lines, and it has to happen in real time, because in the family, that's how you communicate all the time. And so that was a really extra, like when I found that out, I was like, I really would like to play this character.
You'd like to be a part of that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's something very, very special. A few other things too. Look at this one. I mentioned the Lego, multiple different things with the Lego company. Everybody grew up with Legos. Tell us about being involved in this too.
Yeah, so this is the newest iteration from Ninjago, Dragons Rising. I actually was just nominated for Best Voice.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I play Beatrix, the baddie, the big bad, which is always fun to play because there's no limit. But this is based on the Ninjago characters you know and love that have been around. Again, another show that's been around for over 10 years, right? That's kind of amazing.
Right.
But Lego's been very, very good to me in the last few years. I'm also on a show called Lego Dreams, which is a new cartoon show, animated program, I guess we say. And then I'm also voice directing Lego Friends for the Lego group. So I've got a lot. I'm very grateful for them. They're a big fan of Lego, even before they hired me.
You've got a leg up. You've got a leg up. A leg up with Lego.
There you go. Glad you said that. That's yours. You can keep that one.
That's it. That's it. We're quick. We are quick. Dragon
Yes.
Prince, the Dragon Prince, another one. You talk about
Oh,
Netflix, right? Yeah.
yeah. That was a great show. Again, 7 seasons. I think we're airing season 5 now. I always have to, it's so weird. I like half my life I feel I'm learning lines, and the other half I'm signing NDAs about what lines I can say and can't say in public. But
Yeah, right.
this was kind of fun. I guess my tagline for me was I kind of went from Princess of the Ponies on My Little Pony to Mother of the Dragons on The Dragon Prince. So I voice Zubea, who is the mother of the Dragon Prince, and we meet her at the end of season 3. But it's great because although it's an animated program, there's like some animated programs are like really hyper and very like cartoony, right? But then
Yes.
there are some that are very filmic, I guess, for lack of a better word, very realistic. The acting style is really real, so much so that when you're in the studio, you're right on that microphone and it's catching every breath and nuance. And that was a show where like I said, you have to be able to act. Like the demands on the performers, the emotional demands were really high. So I think it's definitely a program for teens, adults, and I think that the age base of people who like it is quite wide for that very reason. It's really good storytelling. Yeah,
Absolutely. The world of Warcraft too is another. I mean, yeah, just so the variety. Dragonflight.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Video games are different, right?
Are
So
they?
my
Yeah.
my boys play video games, so it's kind of cool. Like with their female friends, a couple of them because they're 20 and 19 now. So they've said, "Oh, your mom's the voice of my childhood," which
Yeah.
I think is that's really cool. But then also they have some of their friends that play these video games, so it's like I'm kind of cachet in on that side. But yeah, Chandra's Feathermoon is my big character on World of Warcraft, but it's really different recording video games, and it's really taxing. It can be really taxing on your vocal cords, and
Is
it's
it just
nice
because
that
of the amount of dialogue or because of the different things you have to do with the voice or both?
more exertion sometimes the
Yeah.
things. So on World of Warcraft, I sometimes do the orc voices, the really rough, gruff kind of
Yeah.
like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
doing that even for half an hour, you're like, okay, I'm not talking for the rest of the weekend.
How do you prep
But
to do that? I know no milk products, no dairy for sure.
yeah, dairy bad. Lots of water, lots of water, lots of collagen, electrolytes,
Do you try to stay out of the cold?
steaming.
Friend of mine's an opera
Yeah,
singer in New York, and she does not like to go out in the cold when she has performances coming up because she says it really negatively affects her voice.
yeah, I probably start wearing scarves in August. People think I'm crazy, but as soon as the weather starts to kind of tilt a bit, I like to keep this part of my body
Yes.
warm,
Hmm.
warm in general. Yeah, just but like sometimes if I've got I might go to a hot yoga class. I mean, you got to. It's like for anything, you can't just if you walk into a cold, you're gonna like think about lifting weights. If you don't warm up, you're gonna pull something, right? You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yes. Right.
So you got to warm up. You got to take care of it. You got to eat well, stay hydrated, and pace yourself. And so for video games, though, you can do 400 or 500. Like sometimes there's the little lines, the interactive lines that you have with your whoever the player is, like "Hello, player, greetings," whatever, like that.
Hmm.
And then there's the story parts. So there's kind of two different sides. But in the interactive, there's all this battling usually in fighting, especially in World of Warcraft. So we have to provide all those hits and being hit and attack sounds and death sounds and all that. And that's just like it's fun to do, but it's a different energy and a different preparation than if you go in for a cartoon. In the before times, which I call before COVID, we used to all get together in groups and record the whole script if all the actors were available. So it felt like a
Yes.
radio play. So
Right.
much fun. But in that case, like it's your line for bid, and then you can sit and watch the other people act, and then you get up and you do your stuff, and you might be busy for 7 or 8 pages, and then there's another scene you're not in. So you always have these nice breaks. During COVID, we were bringing actors in one at a time, and it was just you for however long it took to get your 10 to 90, 100 lines, whatever you had in the show. And so a lot of actors during that time were like, oh, okay, I got to prepare differently than if I'm going in for a group record. It became much more like I'm going in for a video game. So yeah, it's not, it's thoughtful, right? You have to be
Hmm.
thoughtful in your preparation. You don't just wing it. You want to look like you're winging it, but there's lots of you want to make it look easy, but there's nothing.
That's the key, is to make all these things that we do look effortless and carefree, but behind the scenes, all the preparation and all of the tweaking that happens on the spot too. You could have something so laid out, so formatted, so ready to go, so well rehearsed, and something can happen technically, production wise, something can happen, somebody could fall ill. There's so many variables, and you have to get in there and just make magic from, especially when you're live. If you do a lot of live work,
you got to be flexible. You got to be flexible,
ready to jump, get in there and make it happen. And you also
have to trust. You have to trust, right? Like, you come in with I always say, like, to my actors, I'm like, I got you. Okay. My job, you're going to come in here with your performance at 110%. And then let's take it up a notch, right? Please don't come in at 0 and expect me to pull you up the mountain. I work out, but come on now. Like, and so as an actor too, I would go in with ideas, but then sometimes, maybe your ideas aren't relevant anymore. There's been some new additions to the script, or there's been recasting, or they've rethought something. And so you got to be willing to go, okay, throwing out that idea, and listen and take it in and just trust fall, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, a lot of that.
So many things. I mean, we really just scratched the surface of a few of the things. Of Key, of course, another one too. The Metal Idol. That's a lot of people.
That's anime, right?
Yes.
So huge. Like, one of my sons loves anime and manga, and this was from the 90s, one of my first ones. And it's quite interesting. The style of animation is very similar to the style of animation in Dragon Prince.
That's right.
We would call, right? So you can see how really the art from the Pacific Rim region has really infected and affected the animation in the Western world, right? It's quite beautiful.
Very much so. Absolutely.
But in the case of a show like this, it was done in Japan first. So for me, I was hired to dub it into English. And it's a very different process, dubbing, than prelay acting or just acting in general, because not only do I have to do all the same stuff that I would do preparing for an animation script or a film TV script, but now I have to have the technical wherewithal to have my words that I'm saying match flaps that have been drawn to another language. So, you know what I mean? It's this other technical brain that kind of has to run at the same time as your acting mojo.
That's right.
It's hard. And so actors who do anime and do it really well, do the dubbing really well, are really skilled. It's hard to do, for sure.
It really is. It's amazing, but it's a good thing to have in your, feather in that cap, for sure. Littlest Pet Shop, another.
Yeah, that was fun. I played Zoe Trent, the dog, in that. And it was fun. She's very much a diva. And so, much like when you play villains or characters that have different filters, the rules of engagement are off, right? Which makes it exciting as an actor. You don't have to, you can do whatever makes sense to you. And the more unpredictable, the better. And, because villains don't see themselves as villains. They see themselves as people who are just very misunderstood, right? And if the whole world would just listen to me, I wouldn't have to do these things. And divas don't see anything wrong with taking the spotlight. Of course it should be on them. And if you just puff yourself up a little bit more, maybe I'll share some of my light with you, And so just being, I think it's what, what I love about acting too, is being able to step into different people's shoes and to stretch my own personality a bit. Who I am in my everyday life is there's elements of me in everything I play, but I get to explore different parts of me and different characters,
which is fantastic. You mentioned puffing up. Great segue. Powerpuff Girls D.
Well, that was one of the iterations. This show's come back many times, and one of my friends, Tara Strong, is an incredible actor, voice actor. Worked with her on My Little Pony. It's been part of the Powerpuff Girls forever. But same thing. That was for me an anime, so it was dubbing from the original, and then it kind of went off. And but it was fun, and those characters were so over the top and so big. But anime is like it starts here. So that's the other thing. When you go into any acting job, you got to kind of massage and keep your energy in, and just be willing and able to respond to whatever's ahead of you. And in the case of being in the studio with that microphone in front of you, you got to act past the microphone, but you still got to fill the space. And so there's no room for being shy, and there's no room for not being willing to fall on your face. you know.
Exactly.
That's
And that takes time and
that's good.
training and belief in yourself to allow yourself to make mistakes and pick yourself up. And because in the beginning, when we start things in our lives, we're always so hard on ourselves and
Yeah.
self-critical. And you can learn
Yeah.
from that, but you can't let it override everything and dwarf the
No.
talent.
No.
It's part of
Yeah.
it's part of what it's about. Some of the most successful people on the planet have failed, have made mistakes, have gone in different directions. It's what you do with it and learn from it that allows you to succeed and go further
Yeah.
in your craft, as you've been doing, like you said. For
Well, you know, with mistakes, like the word I invite people to rethink the word mistake, make friends with it. It's not a
right,
bad thing. Mistake
no,
is possibility. Mistake
exactly,
is possibility, right?
right,
And then that little voice that sits on your shoulder that goes, "That was stupid. Why'd you say that? Blah blah blah." They need to leave. Rent is really expensive, right? Right? And most right. So you need to invite somebody on your shoulder who's going to whisper lovely, sweet nothings into your ear. That was great. Try again.
exactly.
Go for it, right?
That's right,
And you
exactly.
know, and the sooner you can do that, not take yourself so seriously, and realize that you actually you have way more in common with everybody else than you think, and that community is super important, you know. And if you can find that community and believe in that support, it's so much more fun to try things when you have it than on your own.
That's exactly right. And I tell people, don't get hung up on the word perfection, perfectionist, perfectionism. Drop that word and replace it with striving, not for perfect, because there's no such thing.
Oh,
Strive.
perfect is boring.
It is. Strive for excellence instead. And when I tell people that, they're like, oh my God, there's so much more liberating. I'm still striving for excellence and to try to make things good and all, and passionate about it. But perfect is definitely a claustrophobic box to be in. And
Yeah.
there's no such
Yeah.
thing as perfect.
That's why I love the word evolution, right?
Evolution.
Because
Exactly.
it's always about being in motion, and
It's
you're always
going.
moving somewhere, right? And you may move in a direction you would never thought was possible or
That's
even on your
right.
radar. But if you stand
Exactly.
still and you live in fear, how can you embrace that possibility?
That's
And you
right.
never know how it all. And having done this long enough now, things that I did, you can start when you know, hindsight is 2020, right? You can look
It
back and go,
is.
oh, when I did that, yeah, oh,
Mhm.
right. And so, like I was saying, you know, I try and wake up every day grateful. Some days are harder than others, I'm not going to lie, but throw that pot of pasta at the wall and see what sticks, and just go for it. And you know, try
Exactly.
and say yes more than no, and self-care always.
Is
So
very important. Coming up on the 10th, starring in Round and Round on the Hallmark Channel. Look for it, folks. It's going to be
yes,
terrific. Give us like a brief synopsis of it for
sure.
those who are joining us on the show.
It's kind of like Groundhog Day meets a Christmas movie, which is a Hanukkah film. So Rick was from Suits, Rick Hoffman, great actor, so much fun. We have two daughters. Vic Michaelis is the lead. She plays one. She's single, living in New York, an intern. And her other daughter is married with a 5-year-old boy, and she has a wife. And every seventh night of Hanukkah, we all get together as a family to celebrate when my husband and I met our meet cute. So in the 80s, my character was a DJ, and Rick came into the club, and we met and we fell in love. And it turns out, though, that maybe there was a little magic at play in that. And it kind of rears its head again for our daughter. And that's all I will say. It's a little bit different. It's a lot of fun, but it's got a lot of heart. And it was kind of cool as an actor because we got to repeat some scenes. That's just cool. Maybe a little something changing each time. So this Sunday, December 10th, tune in. It's super fun for everybody to watch. So
it's Round and Round coming up on the Hallmark Channel. Part of your holiday viewing, of course, everybody. Check that out. Our very special guest, Nicole Oliver, is here, and she's been doing this for a good long time.
Oh my gosh, look what you got.
Yes.
Look what you got.
I do my research. I tell you.
That's scary. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great shot. You don't take a bad.
Oh, I love it.
You don't take a bad photo at all. Everything
those pictures are 30 years apart.
I mean, you fabulous photos. Yeah,
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
nice stuff.
Yeah, a lot of those are, yeah, yeah.
It's all part of
So
the package. All part of
it's
it.
all part of it,
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
But
And you're passionate and you love what you do, don't you? It brings you great blessing and joy in your life, doesn't it?
I do. It brings a lot. I like to challenge myself, so I'm always trying to figure, what am I going to do next? What's up next? How do I see myself? And I try and every year take some classes, not necessarily do with the arts, but just to help me grow. Like last year, I took a farming course to learn how to grow my own food. I'm a pretty good gardener, but I wanted to up it a notch, right? This year, I'm going to take Spanish lessons, and I'm taking a hip hop class.
Oh, that's cool.
Stay tuned. It could be
Stay
crazy.
tuned.
But just doing things like that to make myself just keep growing.
Yeah,
and,
right. Exactly.
Allow myself,
More
like you said, to
skills.
stay open. Yeah, and see where it goes next. But next, so far, busy. I still working on camera, and I'm grateful for that. And I love the directing. Like I said, I love being part of a team from beginning to end, and really getting to know all that. There's so many bits and pieces that go into bringing a production to our audience, and being able to witness all the talent and work in a collaborative way I find it very fulfilling. So
well, we are so glad that you chose this career, and we're so glad you had an opportunity to, in this busy time of the year, for all of us to stop by. Congratulations on
thank you.
this particular Hallmark movie coming up on the 10th, and everything thus far. Keep us connected. You're welcome back anytime, Nicole. We like to have not interviews here at the Jim Masters Show, but conversations celebrating our lives, celebrating our passions. Our viewers watching, commenting have said you're a lovety already. So with all the awards,
am I a
cool
lovety?
Yay! High five! Hey, she's a lovety.
Boom!
That is fantastic.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Thank
Again,
you.
the best of the season to you and your family. This will be archived on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, so you can share the links, spread the lovety, and come back and see us again. Okay, Nicole?
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me, and happy holidays to you and all your viewers. And watch it on Sunday. You're going to love it.
The Hallmark channel. Absolutely. Hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Nicole. It was a blast.
It was a blast. It was a blessing too. Thanks so much.
You are very welcome. You take care. And as my dad has always said and told me when I was 7 years old, whenever anybody says something kind or nice to you, Jim, always thank them. And then ask them to please put that in writing and address it management. So true, right? Address it management. So whoever management is, get those kind words up to management.
Put it on a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on a t-shirt. You're the best. You be well, and come see us again. We'll keep the porch light on for you, Nicole.
I love it.
All right. Take care. Cheers. Nicole Oliver here on the Jim Masters Show live series. There's her website as well. We've been showing that throughout the program. Round and Round is premiering on the Hallmark channel. That is coming up on Sunday the 10th. Look for it on the Hallmark channel. It's a fantastic, fantastic movie. Just in time for the holidays with the Hanukkah theme too, which is going to be something unique and special. And it's terrific. Loved having her here on the show. Loved having all of you here on the show as well. And thanks for all the great comments. We appreciate everybody who has been diving in and chatting with us here on the show. All the lovely comments coming in the lovely whole chat room. Letting you know next week, Sharon Glass from Cagney and Lacey and so much more is joining us here on the Jim Masters Show live series. We can't wait to welcome Sharon. And Michael Stern is going to be with us too. He's got this wonderful book, I Had a Ball. He's with us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. He's had a long-time friendship with Lucille Ball. And she said he was her number one fan. He saw her when he visited the studios in Hollywood for Here's Lucy when he was a kid. He's originally from Canada. Lived in California. Now he is in Texas. He works with the Dr. Phil series and is working on new projects with Dr. Phil. And he used to play backgammon with Lucille Ball in her house. Really incredible stories. That's tomorrow. If you didn't see the episode with Adrian Zmed, another legendary actor, recently he was with us as well. And hundreds and hundreds of more here on our show. Thanks for joining us. We have to scoot off. We have some television work we've got to do right now, but it was a real pleasure having Nicole Oliver here on the show. She is amazing, a real super talent. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Jim Masters here, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time on the Jim Masters Show Life series. And we hope if you enjoyed this episode, you will also give this episode a hearty like, a thumbs up like on our YouTube channel. Click that thumbs up icon. Leave a comment too. Let us know about some of the great things you enjoyed about this conversation, about our series, about our episodes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We would love that as well. We don't say goodbye. We say see you later, and take care. Love one another. Take care of one another. And don't forget to love yourself. And best of the holidays. We'll be back with another great episode. So come see us again here at Lovely Hall in the Jim Masters Show Live series. Be well, everybody. Take care. And thanks for joining us on the Jim Masters Show Live. Cheers.